Today, I have a weapons tier list for the ultimate weapons. I'll not go over each and every one of them because there are too many. And to be honest, right now in the game, you don't really need more than a handful of them. The rest you can just use to level up your mastery. And if you're in the early game, you may need a few more. Also, on the 27th of July, we are getting a rework, a rebalance of some kind. I'm not sure what they'll do here. My guess they'll probably just bump up the damage numbers instead of like proper reworks on most of the guns. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I thought this would be a good time to just talk about some of the ultimate weapons and where I would rank them. I haven't done the usual S tier, A tier thing. I've split this into must build, whether some of them are stat sticks, some are decent if you need them, if you like them, and then some that are good or were good but need buffs now, and then some are just there for the mastery. Okay, so let's just get straight into it. I don't want to make this a long video. I would say Malevolent, um, Restored Relic, and where is Tagged? Tagged over here. Must build these three. If you build these three right now, I think you are more or less done. I think you don't really need much else. Dagger will be great with pretty much everyone. If you put one fire rate and one, let's say, rounds per magazine. With Glare, you put two fire rates and you should be good. Same for the Restored Relic. With Glare, she can destroy Void Erosion Purge comfortably alone, especially after they change the settings and so that the visual effects don't blind you. So put three fire rate cores here. Shell Crusher, the for the 5% fire rate, put a fire rate mod, you'll have 90% fire rate, and you can just destroy it because it is a slow weapon. Malevolent with the cogs and everything. Yeah, you use these for descendants that are, uh, let's say, weak when it comes to skill, someone like Eugene, for example. But you can use it with everyone. It's just great. By default, this is toxic, but you can build it for any particular element you want. So yeah, these three I think are top of the pile. Then we have our trusty stat sticks. So Secret Garden, where is Peacemaker, uh, Blue Beetle. So these three, depending on the descendants you play, if you're playing Ines Frena, any tech descendant, you can hold this in your hand. You can add sprint cores, maybe a grapple core, and put a brisk walk mod on it, and you can use this as a nice stat stick which will give you more power for your tech skills. Peacemaker, same with Fusion Dimension, good with Valby. And Blue Beetle, if you are using Fusion, it will give you crit rate increase, so it will basically give you the same amount as the Skill Insight mod. So Sharon would be a good candidate for this one. And so yeah, so these guys, you don't even have to build them. Basically, you can just hold them in hand and they'll give you the buff. So the Secret Garden is a decent gun in my opinion, even if you want to use them, because I have used this gun quite a bit early on. But after the cores and everything, other guns took over, and now this is just used as a stat stick. But it has very high crit, so it is a good gun. But yeah, these guns you don't even need to build them. Now, besides this, I would say decent if required. You could say Albion Cavalry. This is handy with the Haley for Void Erosion Purge 10. The unique ability is good. You can, if you shoot at it and you hit the marks and everything, you can run fast with it as well. So it is okay, but of course it's a big LMG. Reload times are slow. It has quite a bit of recoil and stuff, and it'll basically slow you down. It's not bad, it's good, and it helped us out in the Void Erosion Purge. But yeah, I would still like some adjustments if possible. But yeah, it's a good gun. It's not terrible. Then we have Ancient Knight. Ancient Knight is probably the main assault rifle that is actually decent. However, it's only really strong in the hands of Serena when she's flying, because it has all the unique abilities that you get when you are in the air, and Serena can get more multi-hit when she's in the air, multi-hit and multi-hit damage. So yeah, it's again, I wouldn't use this with somebody else, but with Serena it makes sense. With Serena it's actually must build, but yeah, I mean, you don't have to, you can use the dagger with Serena. But yeah, this is, I think, a fair spot, because if you, even if you don't build it, it doesn't change much. What else? I just want to talk about the important stuff here, and the others I'll just probably ignore. Thunder Cage, I would say must build, especially if you're new into the game. If you're in the end game, it's not really needed. Like I haven't used this a lot since season 1, let's say. But early on, when you're finishing the story, getting into hard mode, you need to clear outpost with Sharon. You need to kill mobs quickly. The exploding ability, the unique ability, it is very good. So I would say it's a must build. And in certain situations, you can still use it now. I got a great comment from one of my regular viewers, Spanish Inquiry. He mentioned that he uses this with Lepic and use the third ability of Lepic, pull the enemies in, shoot the enemies, explode, kill all of them. So it's actually handy, but again, I don't know if many people do that. Now we have the, where is the Enduring Legacy? I can't see it there. Enduring Legacy, again, same as the Thunder Cage, it's a must build early on. Um, Early on, this is the boss killer. Before we had cores on the gun, this was the must build gun. I had multiple builds. I had a mobbing build with like recoil reduction and everything. We had um, killing for bosses with fire damage and using the unique ability and stuff like that. So this was handy. People like Enzo benefited greatly because they could increase the crit rate as well. However, once we got the cores, other guns took over, and once again, I've not used the Enduring Legacy in a while. I would go as far as to say things like the sprint cores have changed things more than perhaps the damage cores, because for me, running fast is now quite important with the speed buffs to various descendants and people reaching 1440 speed limit and Bunny reaching 1600. I think it has become important to have at least one gun in your hand that has two or three sprint cores. Like every build, I have either the almost every build. Let's say I have the Peacemaker or the Secret Garden. Even if it's not the main gun I'm holding, I'm switching over it when we are running through until we get to the mob. So these have become quite important for running for certain descendants that don't have any speed buffs. So similarly, if we could put, let's say, a couple of speed, I think we have two sprints or something. I can't remember right now, but yeah, maybe this could get some use if you had some sprint cores. But again, it's not needed end game. Early game, early end game, it is useful, especially when you're farming and opening all the amorphous materials and stuff. So yeah, I would like to see Enduring Legacy come back a little bit, because currently endgame Albion Cavalry is more useful than Enduring Legacy. Um, Another gun that, no, unfortunately, these were very good as well alongside Enduring Legacy. This was very good. I used to take this to the boss killers. However, there is absolutely no need to use these guns. This is decent, but again, there is no content where you would require this. So where would I put these? Maybe in the needs boss category. Same for Perforator. Perforator, the unique ability where you hit the weak point and it gives you crit, or weak point and you have those things dropping on the ground and exploding, they tend to blind you quite a bit. So they need to have a look at that as well. So the buff would be to basically make it easier to see and maybe perhaps one or two adjustments. Similarly, another gun with the same issue, if I can find it, is the Greg's Reversed Fate. Greg's Reversed Fate is still good. I would say it's probably better than needs buffs. However, it's also completely blinding. You don't know whose ultimate is dropping. It looks the same as Greg's thing. And yeah, you have to hit the weak points to get all of that. It's just too much hassle. It's a good gun. I think it should be here, honestly. But if they can just adjust that, um, the bombs that drop, it might be better. No, surprisingly, I like the Python, especially with the weak point stuff. Not the weak point. I mean, weak point is good as well, but also the multi hit is decent. And I tried it recently. I killed Gluttony with this, just using the gun with toxic elements on it and no skill usage from the Descendant. So it's actually decent. However, again, is it required? Maybe if you put the fire rate cores and you want to use it with clay, I think it can do a very good job. The fire rate is very good on this gun. So I don't think this requires a buff as such, but rather a reason to use it, I think. Now, another controversial one, I think you guys might think is controversial, is Divine Punishment. Divine Punishment is also good. It has a decent fire rate, higher than some of the other guns. And of course, it's designed with Eugene, the unique abilities. It doesn't give a huge increase to firearm attack with one of its unique perks. But as a gun, it's decent. It's decent. Again, I killed the Gluttony, same as Python, just using the gun. So it is decent. But this is a fire type, so it helps against Gluttony. But yeah, overall, the assault rifles in this game, they do require some tweaking. I can understand why they did not give high crit rate to these assault rifles, because then they'll become very, very powerful. Their base damage is higher. However, with certain other guns that have very high crit rate, they can go well beyond the damage. So I think they should still, if they don't want to increase the crit rate and crit damage on these, they should just increase the base damage further, so that we can use combination of elements, multi-hit, to at least give us more damage. They also tend to have a bit of recoil and accuracy issues, so you need to fix that as well to make them viable. But if you put like a recoil and accuracy core and then build it with a little bit of multi-hit, add some elements, these are decent. You can delete the bosses at the end of 400% with these quite easily. The Oblivion commander at the end of Sigma Sector, the guy in the Void Vessel, what's his name? I forgot. I used to call him Rambo because I couldn't remember his name. Commander Dread Armor Commando, I think. So yeah, that guy. You can actually delete those guys with these guns. Similarly, I would rate Fallen Hope over here. Fallen Hope has the best multi-hit damage, base multi-hit damage. Fallen Hope also has good fire rate, good damage, base damage. However, Fallen Hope also has a lot of issues. The unique ability is terrible. It also has a recoil issue. It also has an aim accuracy issue. Magazine size is again on the smaller side. So again, these are the guns I think that actually not buffs but reworks is what I would say. This would need a little bit of rework. Either make the unique ability similar to the Thunder Cage, or have some other adjustment, because yeah, it's missing out badly because of that. And of course, like I said, with the speed issue, if I'm holding the Secret Garden in hand with Freyna, I don't need the Fallen Hope. You can use it as a toxic gun with another Descendant that is not toxic type. It could come in handy over there. And this also deletes the 400% bosses very easily. I think it does a much better job than even the Divine Punishment here. So these are very interesting guns. Yeah, Decent is about as high a praise as I can give them. They're not bad, but again, you don't really need to use them depending on the Descendant. If you have a dagger in hand, just delete the boss. Who cares? So yeah, so these would be here. Again, I'm being generous to some of them perhaps. Now, what I have next is, let's see, Final Masterpiece, I would say needs a buff. Final Masterpiece was fun. It would do different element damages when you hit the enemies. That was all fun, but it was a little messy. The Toxic puddle stayed the longest, I think like 10 seconds. So I think a lot of us built this with Toxic in mind. But again, with the buff to the dagger, we forgot about the Final Masterpiece. Then we have Voltia. Voltia is also going in the decent, but if required, because it's only required for the Void Vessel or perhaps the Spec Ops. I don't play a lot of Spec Ops. I play Void Vessel regularly, so I have this on my Bunny, Freyna, Ines, my mobbing Descendants. And so you can just quickly pull this out, delete the shields, and kill a lot of enemies with this. And then you switch back to your Secret Garden or whatever you're holding. And yeah, so I think it's a decent gun. It's the only useful beam rifle in my opinion. So that is the Voltia. Next we have now, of course, there are some guns that I don't have a lot of experience with because early on I looked at them, built them, and never bothered using them. So I kind of forgot some of them as well. So I'll put them in the mastery, but they may be decent. Keep that in mind. So for example, things like Clairvoyance, FrostWatcher definitely. Actually, I should make. I mean, this is considered bad, this category. But if I could, I would put another below this, call it bad, and then put them here because there are some guns that need to go there. Another bad gun, disappointing, would be the truly deadly Arson. It doesn't do burn damage. It does other things. So it's basically only good with a Descendant that can inflict burn. So you shoot at the enemy, then you inflict burn on them, and then they burn and explode. So you have to like light the fire somehow. And the gun doesn't do that, so you have to use Blair or Lepig. You have to press a second, and then his nade will do it. So it's just too many steps involved, in my opinion. And the fire rate is very slow on this. The ammo magazine size is very slow, very small. So with these beam rifles, you have to get to stage 3, and by the time you get to stage 3, you'll have like 3 bullets left, and you have to reload, and you lose all of that. So that is why the Voltia somehow works. Although even this could need a little bit of a help, but this one is just, I spent time building this, and then I've never looked at it again. Next we have, what do I look at? Kingsguard Lance did get some usage early on, but it's again another gun like the final masterpiece where it's fun and with all these shenanigans, but it's still not really that useful. So yeah, they need to rework this somehow to make it more viable. This one here, truly deadly, should I put it in the buffs? It does need a buff, but it is bad as well. So we're putting this in the bad section. Smithereens is decent, but again, I have not really used it. The shotguns, basically all of them, I'll just put them here, even though this isn't terrible, but it's just, there's no need. There's no need. Hammer and Anvil is worse than Smithereens, obviously, but again, get the mastery and wait for them to do something about this. Executor is also good, so I would say, yeah, something like this. I mean, these two are much better than this. Like, I shouldn't even be putting this next to these two. These are actually decent. But because we don't really need a lot of use for some of these guns, I'm just putting them here until there is content where shotguns are required. Then we could rank the different shotguns and see which is better. But for now, these two can still get used somewhere. This one is just a bit weird, I guess. Excava. Excava, I think, is good. Excava is good. You can put a lot of electric on it. It makes a nice sound. I like the sound of that gun. And overall, it's not bad. Again, it doesn't have much use if you don't want to, but if you want to use it, it is fun. So I would say it's decent. I don't think it would require any major reworks, but yeah, it's more about having content where this would be needed. A-TAMS, I would say, should go here if you like snipers, if you use snipers, if you use Haley or something, or even if you don't use Haley. It's a good gun. Again, for me, I don't use snipers. However, I have built many of these snipers, and they are very strong. Early on, when we used Haley to take out Colossus, this could have been handy back then. I mean, this is a new gun. We used these two back then, but yeah, this is something you can build and you might enjoy it. Again, you don't have to, obviously. The ones you really want, I think you can get away with just building Glass Dagger and you'll be fine if you don't use Clay or something. But yeah, these I would recommend you check them out. These are fun guns. Then we have the Piercing Light, and I don't even remember which one is which. Afterglow and Piercing Light. So I'll just put them here. Decent if required. They were required early on with Haley for some of the Colossus, but not anymore. Wave of Light, I don't even remember how it works. We had the Lunar Halo, Solar Halo. Can't even remember if I'm being honest here. And same for the Sigvore's Proof. It had like a sticky bomb or something. I never really built it and never used it, so I'm just putting it here. So that is it. That is the tier list. Again, must have Dagger, Malevolent, Restored Relic. If you're early game, Thunder Cage, Enduring Legacy before you get the course. Once you get hold of the course, you get these stat sticks. These two, even here, if you don't play Sharon or something, you don't really need this, just these two. And so if you get these 5 here, that is enough. And yeah, if you're new, you get the Thunder Cage. But yeah, the rest of them are, I would say all of them are optional. But some are good if you like using guns, if you like building them, experimenting. I think this is how I would rank them based on how I use them. So again, I don't even use the Restored Relic a lot. I have built it and I use it with clay sometimes, very rarely. But for me, Dagger, Secret Garden, and Peacemaker. And these two are statistics. So I'm only really using the Dagger. But yeah, I have built quite a lot of them. In fact, let me see. I built this one, this one, this one, this. These, no, I haven't built the Blue Beetle. Albion, Ancient Knight, Greg, Python, Divine, Voltia, Fallen Hope, Excava, these two as well. I have built Naziestra. This, I can't remember if I fully built the King's Guard and fully built the Truly Deadly Arson. Smithereens is built as well. And I think maybe Wave of Light is half built. But yeah, even despite building them, I don't really use them. So that is my tier list. Let me know what you think. I've also made this one into a public one. So I'll see how we share this. So I'll share this template if anybody else wants to, you know, put their own guns and stuff here. Because I had to go and grab all these PNG files for all these guns. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing a few here. Okay, either way, if I'm missing, they are not important enough for me to remember. But that is it for my tier list. Thank you for watching as always. And hopefully with the next patch, we get some adjustments and improvements.